Frozen French fries from a plastic bag come out crispier than fries you cut fresh from a raw potato at home. Not close. Crispier. Better color. Better crunch. More consistent from fry to fry. That shouldn't be possible. A factory potato, frozen for months, shipped across the country, shouldn't beat one you just peeled 10 minutes ago. But it does. Every time. And the answer isn't the potato or the oil. It's what happens at the factory before the fry ever reaches your freezer. That system didn't exist until one man figured it out and gave the idea away for free. And the company that turned it into an empire started with a 14-year-old kid and a coin toss. Idaho, 1909. J.R. Simplot leaves school at 14 with gold coins from his mother and starts raising hogs near Declo. He feeds them wild horse meat and scrap potatoes boiled in a homemade iron vat. A brutal winter wipes out everyone else's feed supply. Come spring, their hogs arrive skinny. Simplot's arrive fat. He sells the lot for $7,500. He wins a coin toss against his partner for an electric potato sorter, the only one in the region. One machine, a local monopoly. By 1940, 33 warehouses. During World War II, he supplies roughly a third of all dehydrated potatoes to the U.S. military. In 1953, he produces the first commercially viable frozen French fry. But frozen fries have a problem. They come out mushy. Edwin Treisman, a food scientist at Kraft who helped develop Cheese Whiz, walks into a McDonald's near Chicago. Approaches a man sweeping the floor. "Where's the manager?" The man says the manager isn't in. "But I might be able to help." It's Ray Kroc. Treisman opens a franchise, then tackles the fry problem. Idaho potatoes are seasonal. Freezing raw ones ruins the texture. He develops a method for partially frying them before freezing. The par fry hardens the outside into a thin crust that survives the freezer. In 1962, he patents it, then lets McDonald's use it for free. Simplot meets Kroc. Handshake. No written contract. But a handshake doesn't explain why every fry in every bag comes out the same shade of gold. Whole potatoes roll into the plant on a conveyor belt. High-pressure steam blasts the skin. Sudden pressure drop. The skin puffs, loosens, and slides off the flesh in seconds. No blades, no peelers. The bare potato comes out white and smooth, still warm. It drops into a water tank. A centrifugal pump draws potato and water through a tapered stainless steel tube that narrows until the potato aligns lengthwise, traveling at 40 to 60 feet per second. It hits a grid of crossed blades and gets cut into uniform strips in a fraction of a second. Thousands of potatoes an hour, each one the same dimensions. Cut strips fly through camera systems with near-infrared sensors. Defects as small as 1 millimeter get flagged. A burst of compressed air ejects the bad strip before it reaches the next stage. 50 tons per hour and nothing with a bruise or a dark spot gets through. Then blanching. Strips move through hot water at 160 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. 3 things happen at once. The strips stop browning. Excess sugar washes off the surface. Because too much sugar means the fry burns black instead of golden. And the outside of each strip turns slick and glossy. That thin coating is the foundation of the crispy shell. Skip the blanch. Skip the crunch. After blanching, strips pass through a dextrose bath. The hot water just washed the natural sugars away. Dextrose puts them back, measured and even. That sugar is what turns every fry the same shade of gold when it hits hot oil. This is why a McDonald's bag never has one pale fry and one dark one. Par fry. Vegetable oil, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 to 60 seconds. Not enough to cook through. Just enough for that glossy coating to harden into a thin, dry crust. Inside, still nearly raw. By design, the fries come out glistening, slightly stiff, and already starting to smell like the ones you know. Blast freezer. Cold air at -40 degrees Celsius blows upward through a wire mesh belt. Each strip freezes individually within 12 to 20 minutes. Speed matters. Fast freezing keeps the inside of the fry intact. Slow freezing tears it apart from within. That's the difference between a fry that crisps and one that turns to mush. Your kitchen or the restaurant, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 2.5 to 3 minutes. The crust was set at the factory. It hits hot oil and crisps almost instantly. Inside, soft potato steams gently within that shell. Salt goes on while the oil's still on the surface, so the crystals stick. 4 steps. Blanch, par fry, freeze, finish fry. Remove any single one and the fry fails. which raises a question about the potato you're cutting at home. Cut a raw potato at home. Same oil, same temperature, same time. It comes out pale, limp, soft in the middle. You're doing one step out of 4, no blanch, so no coating on the surface, no par fry, so no preset crust, no blast freeze, so the inside falls apart when it hits the oil. You're asking a raw potato to do in one pass what a factory does in 4. The frozen fry isn't better because of the potato. Same russet Burbank at any grocery store. It's better because 3 steps already happened before it reached your freezer. You're not competing with a potato. You're competing with a process. Every restaurant that switched from fresh cut to frozen found the same thing. Consistency beats freshness when freshness means one fry is golden and the next one is white. And the world noticed. Belgium recognized fries as National Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2017 and has been campaigning to get UNESCO to add them to the global list. There's a fries museum in Bruges. The word French in French fries probably has nothing to do with France. In culinary terms, to French means to cut food into long, thin strips. French fries may have always just been Frenched fries, a description of the cut, not the country. In 2021, McDonald's Japan ran out of fries after flooding in Vancouver disrupted shipping. Small size only at more than 2,900 locations. 3 Boeing 747 cargo planes chartered to airlift frozen fries across the Pacific. Julia Child, James Beard, and Paul Bocuse all praised McDonald's fries. 3 culinary legends, and they agreed on a fast food side dish. None of them mentioned what's actually in it. McDonald's fries in the US contain 19 ingredients, including dimethylpolysiloxane, a compound found in silly putty, and TBHQ, a petroleum-derived preservative. McDonald's fries in the UK contain far fewer. Same brand, different formula by continent. Before 1990, the fries cooked in beef tallow. The switch to vegetable oil added a beef flavoring derived from dairy. No more tallow in the fryer, but 35 years later the taste hasn't moved. 4 companies produce roughly 97% of the US frozen potato supply. Federal lawsuits filed in 2024 allege all 4 coordinated price increases of 47% while input costs dropped. The companies deny wrongdoing. The cases are pending. One honest limit. When starch and sugar meet high heat, acrylamide forms. Dextrose plus 400-degree oil is exactly that combination. European regulators are tightening limits. The process hasn't solved it. Nobody thinks about any of this because the factory did the work before the fry reached you. Next time you pull that bag from the freezer, remember, they've already been fried once. You're just finishing the job. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.